Oh, it's so close to my face. Hi. This is Widowed a Shitstorm, episode something. I think 7. And I will call this one, I don't know, something about my PTSD and what it's like to have it. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Maggie, and I am widowed, and it's a shitstorm, and that's basically all you need to know. But I lost my husband Mark to suicide a little bit over 2 years ago, and it's been interesting. I'm having one of those, is this real life kind of days. It's not even really about Mark, but I just did yoga of sorts, so I'm like really mellow now. But anyway, I don't really know what it's like for others, but I wanted to share about my own experience with PTSD. I'm getting a lot more comfortable sharing about it. Today was it was a hard day, but it was a big day in terms of, I guess, my progress in treating it. And I, as usual, will say what I always say. I really like getting messages from people. I love getting messages from other widows and other people that watch the videos, or someone that it makes a difference for, whether you're widowed or whether you're a suicide widow like me, or if you're you're a person and you're dealing with life like all of us, and maybe you have PTSD, maybe you don't, maybe you know someone who does, maybe you're dealing with some form of mental illness or mental wellness or mental health or brain health or whatever you want to call it. I don't really know where all this will go. I just know that I like sharing about it, and hope it makes a difference. So anyway, rambly. So I have PTSD. I was diagnosed in January of this year. So today's July 30th. It's a Monday. I know that. I think it's July 30th. I was diagnosed in January because I finally got myself to the doctor. It was not shocking news to anybody that I had PTSD. It was just finally went to go deal with it. And at that point, it had been a year and a half since my husband's suicide. I would say I did not have PTSD. First of all, it's very common. I forget all the numbers on it, but it's not very common, but it's common. And it's post-traumatic stress is a normal reaction to a traumatic experience. Post-traumatic stress disorder, actually, on the DSM-5 has certain criteria that there's like 4 different types of criteria. Oh, here's Journey, the dog. He hangs out with me when I'm anxious. He's also anxious too because his my roommate, is away. So he's like a hot mess. But anyway, hi buddy. But yeah, so PTSD is when, if you have at least, he's sitting down, there's like 4 main criteria, and if they say generally if it lasts, the symptoms, all of them, all the criteria, you have them for at least a month, but really if it's getting in the way of your life, that's when you know it's an issue. And most of the time, post-traumatic growth, that's something I say all the time, because post-traumatic growth is way more empowering than post-traumatic stress disorder. But mostly post-traumatic stress will resolve itself. PTSD generally resolves itself within a couple of months. It's just part of being human. We all go through things, but sometimes it takes a little more work. So for me, I definitely didn't have it early on when Mark died. I was in so much denial, which is a gift, really. It's the grieving process, even though it's not fixed, and there's so many ways to look at it, and there's no timeline for it, and there's no, for sure, there's no sequence to all of it. It is it's natural, and it's wonderful if you let yourself go through it, and if you, really let yourself experience it, and allow yourself to be empowered by it, and that it's going to help you heal. But denial and shock are such a gift because they get you through the beginning. And I had what I think was a fairly long period of denial and shock, and it wasn't until it started wearing off months after Mark died that I even started to notice, like, oh, shit. Like, and people kept telling me, like, what you went through was traumatic. And I started sharing more and more about what actually happened the day he died, but this isn't really about that. But it was, like, totally traumatic. I had no idea how awful it was until later. But a year ago, I went through a major depression. I spent most of last summer just at home, aside from going to work. I had no control over what was going on with me physically and emotionally. And I started noticing other symptoms, and I knew I had PTSD, but, like, I didn't want to. I thought, like, my idea was, like, well, I don't know, like, I didn't want to make it about me, even though it was all about me. I made everything about me. But, like, I just thought, like, suck it up is really what I thought. Like, you're fine, Maggie. Especially because my husband was a Marine, and mostly when people hear Marine or military or veteran and suicide, they think that he came back from a deployment with PTSD, and that was not the case at all. It's actually not the case for a lot of veteran suicides. So I just felt like people think that he was traumatized from going to do some noble thing for our country, and now I'm the one who's actually traumatized, and he had a gambling addiction, and I don't know, I got all caught up in, like, the details of it. But, and I do know some of his Marines, and I have some other friends that have deployed and came home and really had a hard adjustment period and had PTSD. Some of them still are living with PTSD, and I just thought, well, they really suffered, and I didn't actually go through anything. I didn't witness Mark's suicide, and I was like, what did I actually go through? So I really, like, played it down, which is typical. I know that now. But anyway, so a lot of the symptoms that started happening was, first of all, sleeping has been an issue since he died. I actually sleep fairly well lately. Possibly because I'm exhausted, because when you're anxious all the time, you're exhausted. But, so one of the things with PTSD is it's quite physical. Your body and your mind are not in sync. So, you're always in fight, flight, or freeze mode, even if there's nothing really going on, which I've explained a little bit in some of the other videos that I posted. But so what happened today was, yesterday, I was watching, I get very overstimulated very easily. So yesterday I was watching some of the Marvel movies with one of my friends. So she and I have this goal of watching all the movies. And we started from the beginning, which I didn't even really know when the beginning was. We had to go back to Captain America was actually the first one. So our goal is to watch them all in order. So we started watching them. We've only done, like, one at a time. But yesterday being Sunday, we planned it out. And we were like, okay, we're going to watch 3. So because I've started talking about it more, I used to kind of just hide in my room when I was anxious. But now I just tell my friends, and I have, like, the best support system ever. My friends are incredible, as is my family and other people that aren't necessarily with me physically, but, like, I can just tell them when something's up. But my friends are really great. I can be at home, and I used to want to go in my room to kind of, like, retreat and hide from people, but now I'll just tell them I'm very anxious, so I'm gonna sit with, like, I wear a hood a lot. I like to wear a hoodie because I like to have my head covered. I like to have, like, tunnel vision. I like to cover my peripheral vision because it's, like, too much. Like I said, I get overstimulated. So that's very common with PTSD. Well, it's not really common. That's basically what PTSD is. You're constantly overstimulated. So, like, I'll tell them now, like, oh, I just need to go sit for a few minutes, or sometimes I'll sit on the floor. I have to sit, like, with my back to the wall or something. I don't like to have anything behind me. This is actually okay right now because I can see and stuff, but I don't usually like to sit if I can't see the doors. I don't really like that. But anyway, so we were watching the movies yesterday. We watched Iron Man 2, and we watched Thor, and we watched The Incredible Hulk. And I was kind of anxious throughout the day, but, like, on a minimal level, like, it was functional. But then we were in the third movie, I, like, couldn't even focus, and all of a sudden I noticed, like, I wasn't even paying attention. I was so anxious. But it's gotten way better because I talk about it more, and again, they're so supportive. I just said to my friend Anna Neymark, I was like, Neymark, I gotta pause the movie. I need to go get a blanket. So I went and got a blanket, and then I sat with the blanket, like, over my head, and I sat on the couch like this watching the movie, and that helped a little. And then when that didn't really help, though, our other friend was sitting on another couch. So we had these like 2 couches together, and I had been sitting on the end. So I said, please don't make this weird. I'm just going to come sit between you 2. And I snuggled like up on the corner between the couches with the blanket over my head. And they were like, do you need anything? I said, no, I think this will help. And I kind of dazed out for a little bit, for maybe like 10 minutes of the movie, and was a little winded just sitting there, like, again, just sitting watching a movie. But there's so much going on in those movies. Like, I'm surprised I got through it, but I really wanted to watch it because I couldn't remember how the movie ended. So the good thing is that I can get through things like that now. I would have, not even that long ago, I would have just missed out. I miss out on a lot of things, or I did miss out on a lot. I still do now and then, but I'm a little more forgiving of myself and choosy about what I do and where I put my energy. And a lot of people don't get it, but I think I'll be able to clean that up with people as I continue to start seeing people more. So again, I think I've apologized to a bunch of people, but if I haven't called you back, it's really not about you, and I am sorry. I'm starting to call people back and explain what's been going on, because I just avoid people sometimes because I get really overwhelmed. But yeah, so that was last night, and then got through the movies. That was fine, but then I went to bed and I couldn't sleep. Sometimes even in my room. So like when you can't tell the difference between an emergency and a non-emergency. So I will just think something's going to happen all the time. So sometimes I can't get comfortable because I don't know if I want my back to the window or my back to the door. And so like sometimes I sleep in kind of a weird angle in my bed so that I can see both, because I literally won't be able to get comfortable because I get paranoid. I don't even know what. PTSD is not rational. It's just your body trying to protect itself from something that you can't tell isn't happening, because you went through an experience and you just can't tell when you're not going through that experience anymore, that traumatic experience. So I did eventually fall asleep. I don't remember this morning. I know I woke up anxious, and I like to sing on the way to work, and I didn't want to. I wanted quiet. I put on like a motivational thing that's pretty mellow, and it's got music on that sometimes I like to listen to. I listened to it twice on the way to work. That didn't help. And then I got there and I texted my best friend Shayla, and I was like, hey, I'm leaving my phone in the car today. I have my work phone because she has my work number. I said I'm like too overwhelmed by everything right now, so I need no distractions. So I was trying to eliminate distractions, try not to get overstimulated. And for the record, I really like my job, and my job, everybody at work is very supportive. Basically, everybody knows, they all know about my husband. I'm pretty sure they all know about my husband. I couldn't have a better work environment. I love, love, love my work, and my job and the people. I'm so very lucky. And a lot of them know I have PTSD, and they're very understanding. So no one really makes fun of me anymore when I wear a hood, even when it's like 80-something degrees out in San Diego and I have a hood on. I have my work sweatshirt. I keep it at my desk. Sometimes I have the space heater on because I like the noise. It's very calming. But the office isn't set up very well. I can't see when someone's coming in, so I get scared a lot. And mostly it's a joke again. Like life happens, and if I had some other physical issue, I'd have to learn to live with it. So there's really no reason to not learn to live with this. So I make it right. Don't, get all upset. I can't get upset about this all the time. I'm already on edge as it is. So I laugh it off, and I'll just tell people, like, they'll scare me, because if someone pops up behind me, I like scream. But so I just play it off, and I say, like, oh, sorry guys, I'm traumatized, I'm jumpy, and I scare easily, or I startle easily. But like this was, someone walked in today, and they whispered, like trying not to scare me, and I jumped so high. I felt like I jumped out of my chair, and I actually, like, I didn't scream, but it was like, wow! It's like I yelled, and I was like, oh my God. So I was like, you gotta be kidding me. But then somebody else in the office was like, are you all right? And I was like, I'm fine, guys. It's like just a little jumpy today. So I can laugh it off, but it was like the whole morning, like I knew I couldn't quite shake it. And it's, the good thing is that I know now the difference between like when I can get that it's a physical thing. And that's part of what doing yoga is for. Yoga is one of the most recommended things for PTSD. If you have PTSD or any sort of stress or anything, just do yoga. It really is one of the most recommended things you can do for your mind and your body. And the benefits are, you can't even, there's nothing like it. You can do a million things, but you should just do yoga at least once every week or something, because it'll make a difference. But that's one of the parts, is really to get your body and your mind back in sync, so that you're not like startled when you're sitting in a quiet office and someone just like barely says hello. Like, it shouldn't scare the crap out of you. But yeah, I did some breathing exercises. I keep some essential oils. I don't know what they are, but there's some sort of calming essential oil on my desk. And I had my hood on, and I did different things. I did all the things that I knew to do, and I made myself some tea, and I walked around a little bit, and I texted someone, and then I posted about it, and then I got really embarrassed about that post, and then I took that down, and I just couldn't shake it today. And again, the good thing is that I knew it wasn't, like, I didn't have like a panic about it, because I knew it wasn't me. Like, it's not personal. It wasn't, there's nothing to blame myself for. I was a little frustrated. But the cool thing is, it's both weird and really cool. It's like, it's weird to have anxiety without like something mental at the source of it, or something emotional or psychological. I've always associated anxiety with my feelings. But one thing I've learned is that it like, trauma stores in your body, and anxiety is very physical. So it's really not all in your head. So to have an anxiety attack over nothing is a very odd experience. I think I did keep it. I mean, I guess I would say I had an anxiety attack today. Okay, so I had an anxiety attack today, but like, I could keep it to the point where I got home. But yeah, to have an anxiety attack over nothing, purely because 12 hours prior I watched a movie that got me like way too anxious. And I didn't even have nightmares about it last night. I do have nightmares a lot, but I didn't last night. So it's just very odd. It's both a good thing, because I can notice it now, so I know I'm getting better. And it doesn't have to be so debilitating, and it doesn't have to like make me miss things. I don't have to fall apart over it. There's nothing to fall apart about. I did text my sisters, and I was like, someone please tell me it's okay to go home. Like, I'm not doing so hot right now. And I texted Shayla, and they were like, yes, it's okay to go home. And it was just like, I'm not well, so I'm going to go get well. So I'm very proud of myself for that. So I sent an email out to a few people at work that needed to know, and I said, I'm going home. I'll probably log in later, because I can work remotely. I'm, again, very lucky. And I was like, I just need to go home. One of the guys at work was like, everything okay? And I said, no, I don't feel very well. And he asked a couple questions, but he already kind of knew what was going on. I said, no, man, I'm having anxiety. I was like, I got to go home and deal with my anxiety. And he's like, oh, okay. Let me know if you need anything. So couldn't get home fast enough. It was like a 20-minute drive. I didn't have anything on in the car, like no music or anything, but I have my phone hooked up to Bluetooth in the car. So I had the volume up too high, I didn't realize, and someone called while I was driving. And I screamed. I'm like driving down the highway, and my phone rings, and it was really loud in my car, and I went, ah! I didn't scream like that, like I yelled, but I just am too quiet and calm and zen from my made-up yoga right now to scream. But yeah, so I couldn't get home fast enough. It was awful. I got in. One of my roommates was actually home today because she was homesick, and she saw me walk in. I didn't even talk to her. I went straight to my room. I needed to get in my room, and immediately took off my clothes, put on my pajamas, got in bed, put the blanket over my head. I texted her that I was okay. I was like, I just need to sleep, and I don't know, probably fell asleep within 10 minutes, and I woke up over 2 hours later, having had nightmares. I don't know if they're nightmares in the day, but nightmares about. And they're about the stupidest things, like when you have nightmares and night terrors and things like that. They don't even have to be about anything that actually happened. Most of my dreams aren't even about Mark. They aren't about, some of them relate to some of what I went through, but mostly they're just, they will replicate the feeling, the feelings. There's different, I have different ones about different things. So some are about like feeling helpless, and some are about different things. Some of them are just gruesome. This one was bizarre. So then I woke up and I still didn't want to get up, and so I don't know, it was just a lot today, but I didn't have like a panic about it, so I just said I'm just going to stay in bed and I'm going to do whatever I need to do to feel okay. So I wanted to get up and make some food, but like I wasn't even ready to go in the kitchen yet because see, sometimes you do feel like a lunatic, even though I know I'm not. But like sometimes I don't like to go in our kitchen because there's a lot of windows, and it's and I love our kitchen. I live in a beautiful home. My roommate has this gorgeous home and lets me live here, and it's paradise. But like I wasn't ready to go in the kitchen because there were too many windows, and it was like too overwhelming. But eventually I did make it out there. I made myself some food, and then I sat my butt on the couch and I watched a movie. Journey the dog sat with me. Actually, when I opened my door, he's like the least affectionate dog ever. But he's a hot mess while my roommate Connie's away, so he's already a little bit clingy, but he also has picked up a lot lately on when I'm anxious. So I opened the door, I almost bopped him in the face because he was sitting right outside my door. So he'll sit near you when he knows something's wrong. And he's been sitting with me. I had yoga today, but I didn't go because I just didn't want to leave the house. So I did some made up yoga. I don't really know what I did. I have this little squishy ball thing. That's not what I did. This is not me doing yoga. But I put on some music and I opened the door and I have like a cross breeze going on and I'm way calmer now. And I actually have a massage later. So something I've been doing since Mark died is I get a massage once a month. I'm going to stop doing that soon because it's getting a little expensive, but that self-care was like so important for me the last 2 years. So I have that tonight, and I actually got overwhelmed between going to yoga and going to the massage, and I was like, well, I would love to skip both, but the massage will cost me a penalty fee. So it's like, what can I do so that I can at least do one of them? So I did yoga at home. So anyway, I don't really know who watches these. I can see how many people watch them, but I love the messages people get. I hope it makes a difference for somebody. If you have PTSD, it can get better. I'm still learning myself, and I read a lot about it, and I follow a lot of people that post about it. Social media is incredible. There's so many great people you can follow that are sharing and posting about PTSD recovery. And the thing with PTSD is it is something you can, I don't know the word for it, but recover from. And no longer be considered somebody who has PTSD unless it's chronic, and then you might be living with chronic PTSD. But, you know, both are options. You can live with it, and you can actually move forward from it and then have it no longer be an issue. It doesn't even have to really be residual issues or anything like that. So, yeah. So now I'm calm. Please share this if you know someone it would make a difference for. If they want to take, sweet Jesus, almost 25 minutes to watch me ramble about PTSD. I was going to blog about it, but some things are just easier to say, and some things are easier to write and not have to say with people seeing my face and my feelings and all that. This was one of the ones that was just easier to say. So I hope everybody has a really great day. And yeah, this was a Widowed, a Shitstorm, episode 7. I think it's 7. I do think it's 7 this time. Still don't quite have a title for it, but that's it. So rock on, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Do something nice for yourself today.